Welcome to Still with Purpose. This is Amanda and Christy.
Our goal is to dig deep and discuss real, raw subjects in pursuit of greater self-awareness, positive transformation and healing, and to link arms and journey with you to find purpose and passion in life. Hi, today we're talking about the question, what if the only thing blocking your blessings is your lack of gratitude for what you already have? Amanda, what quote do we have with it?
All right. You have been praying for financial provision, and yet you don't receive the smallest gift given or even acknowledge it. Practice doing that, and you won't miss all the help sent already. Ouch. I personally feel like I have been this person many a times in my life, and it's just never quite good enough. And there's always that, but what about this kind of attitude? There's just everything could be going really great. And then there's always, but this aspect, still waiting on this answer.
I'm the same way. Like, it's great, but it could be better if.
That's ingratitude. So instead of focusing on that thing that hasn't been received, how many times have I missed the extremely detailed provision in my life that was an answer to all my prayers? A lot of times, if it's so out of the blue, of course, I'm just so humbled by it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of times where I'm like, oh my gosh, this was so detailed of a provision, sometimes to the cents, to the dollars on my checkbook. But if I'm coming from a place of lack or scarcity, it makes me see everything as not enough and lacking.
Yeah, even in like get-togethers or events, I have that tendency to think, oh, well, it would be just perfect if this thing were not missing. Or we have all these people, wonder if this one person is going to join, or wanting to make it that much better and not being thankful for what's happening or what's there already.
Do you think it's a disappointment and never satisfied thing, or more of an excellence thing?
For me, it's probably a little bit of both, because I think I struggle with perfectionism. And I think I've been trained to do that too, just in my career. So I look at every situation for what is not exactly perfect. And so how do I fix that one thing, and striving for that ultimate perfectionism? So I think it just carries over into all situations, unfortunately.
I would challenge you to shift that word to excellence
Instead of perfection.
because perfectionism is not good. It just sounds like you're an extreme judgy person, but you doing an excellent job means you're trying to get every detail knocked out to your excellence. Now, there's times when you have to let it go because all the details might not come together, but it seems like excellence would be more supportive to you instead of having that shame behind the judging. I'm never going to meet your standards. I've been told that.
We can't be perfect. I don't think anything is perfect. We can always find fault in anything. And I need to remind myself that. So your word of excellence is much more forgiving and flexible than perfection.
It just has grace in it. I don't know. I see you as excellent instead of perfectionist.
That's great. I would rather take on that label and believe it in my head and strive for that rather than perfection.
Because you automatically are judging yourself. Well, we all know what perfectionism looks like, and it's a counterfeit. Again, shift into the positive side. We need people that hold excellent spaces and they think of all the details. Also, you go out of your way to make this really special gift, or you take the time to pick out something that that person would really love. And then it's just unwrapped. Let's say at Christmas, it's unwrapped and it's just like, cool, it's set aside. And you spend all that time on it. One, that's a huge pet peeve of mine because I'm not a gift giver. That's not my love language, but quality time and words is my love language. So if I spent quality time on your gift, that means it was super sentimental about something we did in quality time. So if you just set it aside, it's insulting to me personally. And over time, as I've gotten older, there's not young kids in our family. We're not in the stage of grandkids yet. I've just started giving giving gift cards because I'm so detached from this gift that I just gave you because I don't want to put forth the effort anymore. Or I say no gifts and let's go do something amazing. Let's go on a trip. That's what we're doing for Christmas. So it's just interesting. But how do you feel when you give a gift? And
just like you, it's one of my pet peeves. And I've, over the years, same, I've kind of resorted to, not with my kids, because I do love picking out gifts that I think that they'll like. And for the most part, they always show gratitude. When they were younger, there were times where they didn't. And I had a discussion around it with them because I feel like it's important when you get a gift to show the other person it's not about how you feel when you get the gift. It's more about giving the other person the gift of the thank you back. That's important. Yeah. What's really embarrassing is when you have your child gets a gift from somebody else and they don't show that gratitude. That's so embarrassing as a parent.
They're just ripping through the gifts. And next we've been to the 2-year-old birthday party.
And especially if it happens when they're a little bit older, and they should understand that. So I know that's been a discussion around our house several times. And so hopefully I think they're to the point where they understand that. But then with adults, it's happened too. And that's where I just resort to gift cards because I'm not going to, like you're saying, put in the time or effort and have the feeling of hurt around, well, it didn't mean anything to them. So why does it mean anything to me?
Right. And not in a negative, passive aggressive way, but just taking note of this isn't how I want to expend my time. But the whole point of this is that this goes back to how we act when God gives us something. Are we just ripping through all the gifts and being like, I also have this other thing that I need, or you didn't get me this, or it wasn't the color I wanted, kind of thing. And that's how we treat God.
I've had that conversation with another adult about how we receive gifts. And I remember being told having a reaction that's over the top feels really fake. But when you think about it in terms of somebody is taking the time to show you how much they care, I don't think the reaction, even if it is like a huge thank you and excitement, I don't think it is over the top. And just like with God, if we think about whatever it is that He's gifted us or whatever blessing, even if it's not what we had been praying for or hoping for, the joy is knowing that God is taking care of us and He knows what's best for us. And the fact that He would even be looking out for us and caring for us, that is worth getting really excited about, whatever the blessing or provision is.
Yeah. And do you know what compassion is?
Yeah.
Or like the not the feeling, the business or the ministry.
No.
Okay, yeah. It's based out of Colorado Springs, but it's like World Vision. You send money in and you have a kid grow up basically, and you give them money to take care of them in a third world country. And I've done it for so long. I think I've had 4 kids now, but I can guarantee that compassion kid opens up his little shoe box that they put, I don't even know what they put in the boxes. They're just little toys and trinkets and Bible. I can guarantee they are pumped to get that gift in a third world country and think someone cares about me and sends money in so I can have extras and it takes care of my food and schooling.
Imagine the gratitude.
We're spoiled.
Oh, totally spoiled.
So when I think about how irritated I get when my gift is just not really seen as anything special, then I have to stop. Oh, this is a great key tool, by the way. When you see something that irritates you, you absolutely are doing it in another area in your life. So if something is annoying, let's say the example of someone didn't thank you for your gift, if you can stop yourself from the annoyance and be like, where do I do this? It's a great tool for you to realize that you're being a hypocrite in a different area. So if you can stop yourself and be like, what do I do that's not thankful? Where do I not thank people? And they probably have hurt feelings about it.
Yeah. Turn it back on yourself. There's so much in the Bible about being thankful and instructions to show gratitude and give thanks. And in Thessalonians 5:18, it says, give thanks in all circumstances. That doesn't say in occasional circumstances or when you get what you want. It says in all all circumstances. It's hard to do, but that's what we are supposed to do.
Even when things are not going your way.
Because you know what? You probably still have a roof over your head. You
Yep.
probably still have clothes to wear and food to eat, and things could be a lot worse. So
Gratitude journals came out of the woodwork probably 5-10 years ago, where people would get up every morning and that was their regimen, writing down 10 things that they were grateful for. That is a game changer for your outlook on life, by the way. If you can carry it through your whole day, that's great. I'm not saying I've arrived in this area, by the
no,
way.
I'm not either.
If anyone was wondering.
No. The other day at work, someone that I work with, like, the normal chit chat as a meeting starting, like, how are you doing? How's your day going? And she said, well, my new motto is, at least no one's stabbing me. And that's an extreme, but there's always something to be thankful for. There really is.
So much. And do we want to go through a complete travesty in order to really put our thankfulness into perspective? I know that when I go snowboarding and I wrench my ankle, or oh, this is even better. In a matter of 2 snowboard trips, I wrenched my ankle and I jacked up my rib. It took 6 weeks for my rib to stop hurting. So when something reminds you daily of it's great to have a body that can move and not be in pain. So really the question is, are we someone that's keeping the flow of gratitude coming our way, or are we blocking the provision because we expect it or we're not pleased fully?
Another thing about scripture, I mean, the ultimate thing to be thankful for is that God sent his son and Jesus died on the cross for us, and we can all have salvation because of it. That's the ultimate thing to be thankful for. Everything else just pales in comparison. So what else do I need to worry about? I'm thankful for that, and that's enough to cover all of the other things I might not feel are going my way.
When I'm feeling in lack or scarcity, I read devotionals every morning. There's something in every devotional that kicks me back into normalcy, but there will be a quote or a scripture around the birds never think about what their next meal is. And flowers, they don't stress about if the rain and sun are going to come. They just know it will, and they're going to thrive anyway. If we could be more like that, that would be super helpful.
Yeah, I talked about getting out and just taking a quick walk during the day. I think about that quite a bit because I'll get out and I'll have all these worries on my mind when I start my walk, and I'll see the birds or I'll hear them. And that scripture comes to mind often. They're not worrying about anything. They know that their next meal is going to be gotten, and they're not worried about where they're going or where they're coming from. So just to get outside, and it again puts everything into perspective.
Going back to the gift card, my boy, before he headed to Switzerland, was emptying his wallet and moving and all this stuff. He handed me a gift card I gave to him 2 years ago that was $100, but everything was so scratched off the back that it was not usable. And I'm just thinking, you threw away $100, dude. I can't even get my head around that.
That's so maddening as a parent or anyone who's given that gift. But you know what? That's a really great analogy if you think about it, because he was probably focused on other things. Or like me, I'm terrible at using gift cards because I always think, oh, I'll save it for something special. And then I keep wanting to save it and then I never use it. But how many things has God maybe sent our way, but we were too focused on other things or distracted? We just didn't even receive the blessing or put it to use in our lives. And then the time period may have passed, just like his codes were scratched off. It's unusable at that point.
That goes into you've been praying for more friends or more companionship or those kind of prayers. And then when someone's sent your way, you don't even acknowledge that person could be a positive in your life. There's probably so many gifts that I've turned down. And there's that story of they're sitting on the rooftop praying, and then he sends a boat by, and then he sends a helicopter by, and they say, God, how come you never answered my prayer? He's like, I sent you a boat, a helicopter. You turned it all down.
So maybe they were just looking for the flood to recede and they weren't even realizing that the help was being sent in another form. We get so stuck on what we think it should look like when we're hoping for something in our lives that maybe we don't even recognize it in another form.
Yes. But I have to tell this story about the gift cards because you just made me think of it. I have a friend that has saved every gift card because she's horrible at spending them. And I know this about her. And she had a pile of gift cards when I was over at her house. I saw the pile of gift cards and I said, "Do you have more of these?" She goes, "Actually, I have ones from her wedding, which was 9, 10 years ago."
Mm.
And I said, "Get that box right now." And it was full. She probably had 50 gift cards. And I went and called all the gift cards, like 800 number on the back, to see how much was left on them. And I wrote it in Sharpie on there. And we decided, we spent a day and we went to all those stores and she picked out something at every single store. But she'd had the gift cards for 10 years. So that is one friend I will never give gift cards to.
Imagine if all those people knew. It'd feel like such a waste and such a letdown. People want their gifts to be recognized and received and used. I'm sure God does too.
Totally. Also, the other piece of this is your gifts and talents are what you have to offer the world. That's a gift. So when someone's giving you their time, it's not just money, it's not just gifts, their time and effort and love and support, that's a gift. How are you receiving that? I know I was given feedback at one of the events that I wasn't receiving help because I had some camera issues reading to my computer and I forgot the main dock to bring my memory card over. And I was trying about 3 different other ways because otherwise I needed to stop and go to the store and get this thing because it's a very special camera card. And I was told, "You just spent 4 hours trying to figure this out," which is not a good usage of my time. And I could have asked for him to just go get the thing at the store, but I didn't want to take up his time because he needed to be doing something completely different. So why taking him off the team to fix my problem? I just couldn't get around them helping me was not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to take someone's time up. I had such an issue with it.
We've talked before about it's okay to ask for help. And even if you're not asking for help, if someone's offering the help, it's okay to take it.
Don't stiff arm the gift because people really do want to help. They really do. And I know for me in the past, I've felt like, and this stems from my childhood, I'm not going to go into details about it. Everything was kept even with one of my parents. And when that got into adulthood, I basically treated, if someone gave me $100 gift for my birthday, I needed to exceed that or make up for it somehow with my gifts or time or support. I couldn't just receive the gift. And when I turned 50, I did quite a cool year of 50 things that I hadn't done. Really cool things like Via Ferrata and rafting the gorge and stuff like that. But my friends came up with a surprise birthday trip and they wouldn't tell me a thing. And it was so extravagant. We went to Florida, the Keys, and did all these excursions. And I just didn't know what the next day was going to hold. And it was so extravagant money wise. I had to finally just surrender that I cannot pay these friends back for what they just did. And it was so emotional and humbling. Yeah. And I know that learning how to receive on that trip, that gift, that I am worth it. Since then, I have received even larger gifts in the tens of thousands. And if I wasn't able to receive the first gifts, the little ones, and I think God's watching you. Can you receive this? Because I have way bigger surprises if you could come from a place of gratitude. And I can tell you right now, 2025 has been a year that I have received out of the blue the coolest, most intricate, large gifts in my life. And there was a time period where probably about $20,000 in value came in the same week for me, out of the blue scenarios. And it wasn't just money, it was value of it. And it was so opportunities, a trip. It was just so overwhelming. And I felt like God was like, you just keep this, I call it the favor flow. So keep the cycle going. If you're going on a trip, you have this awesome opportunity, then definitely keep it in your head that you're bringing this amount of money to extravagantly tip people. It is so much fun to keep that flow and that favor of giving. And I can tell when I go into scarcity, everything just stops. The whole flow stops. And I just start start getting really stressed out about everything. When I'm in the giving mode and the receiving mode and the cycle of that, it is amazing. People will tip me $500 sometimes at my events that I sell packages to, and they're already spending $300 to $400 on the package, and they want to tip me $500 for my time. That is so humbling.
Your gifts are going to way outshine this, but something that I've been really thankful for throughout my life. I have friends who will just out of the blue give me their hand-me-down clothes. Like, it happens all the time to me, and I love it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm a short person. Maybe people shrink their clothes, or I don't know what it is, but I'm really grateful for it. I really am, because I have a ton of clothes that I feel like more times than not, someone's like, oh, that's so cute. Where'd you get that? And I'm like, oh, my friend so-and-so. But I'm just really grateful for those types of gifts that they may amount to quite a bit of money if you were to add it all up. But it's not like somebody went out and spent money on me, but they thought about me. And what a blessing in my life, because I'm in retail for a living in a roundabout way, but I don't love shopping. In fact, I'm in shopper marketing. So I study how people shop, and that's what I do, but I don't like to shop.
I don't either. It's the last thing I want to do.
So talk about what might seem minor, but for me, it's not. And I'm really grateful for it. And maybe that's why it keeps happening, is because, like you're saying, I'm able to receive it with gratitude.
That's exactly why it's happening. I'm the same way. People give me bags and bags of clothes, and I'm so thankful for it. But it goes back to, again, the gifts that God gives us is our talent and our time. And how are we using our talent and time? And I think that's why I'm so excited about this podcast, is because I've done interviews on Facebook and different avenues for my old YouTube channel. And I've done TikTok videos and all that stuff. But it finally came around full circle of, oh, I just really love having raw, real conversations and not one-sided into a video camera. It's so great having another person on the other side. And I do feel like writing and talking about tough subjects is a gift. And I believe you have it too. And I think that's why we came together.
I agree. I think that I've always, like, what might be considered taboo subjects, I'm not afraid to talk about them out loud. And I think sometimes it can be a little shocking to people, which has always shocked me that it is so shocking. But I think that's how God made me. And I don't think I really understood why until you and I started doing this project. That gift could be put towards spreading the gospel and sharing God's word and sharing all these tips for improving ourselves and being our best selves. It can all be put to good. And we're saying putting the gifts that we're given to good use. If we don't do that, it's exactly like opening up a gift and not showing gratitude, or putting it in our wallet and never using the gift card, right? God's given us these gifts. So I'm talking about myself up until us doing this project, which, yes, I'm so excited about it too, because I felt like I wasn't putting my talents and gifts to good use. And now I feel like we have an outlet to do that together. And I'm really thankful for it.
And it's not work. And I think that's what your gift is. Do what is easy. Stop making it hard. Pick exactly the things you enjoy doing and figure out a way to give back value to the world. And I've seen quotes that are like, if you don't do it, no one's going to. If you choose out of your gift and what I've called you to do, then it will just be undone. And cemeteries are where most dreams are dead. They never got done. So in the Bible, when Jesus does a miracle, this actually makes me laugh when I think about this. He does this huge miracle, raises someone from the dead or heals them from leprosy. And then not 10 minutes later, his people are like, what are we going to eat? It's just so funny to me, because I am that person. He just did this amazing thing. And now 3 months later, I'm questioning how I'm going to pay my light bill. Really? I think he's got it.
And that's all part of faith, right? So gratitude and faith go hand in hand, in that if we recognize and are grateful for the gifts we've been given, we can then also recognize and have faith that there's more to come, because we have a loving God and he's promised us He's there for us. And just like the birds, we don't have to worry.
You can't outgive God. I've definitely heard that my whole life. You cannot outgive God. And that goes into the flip side of this is, are you open to giving gifts when you don't have the means in a solid faith position? Because there's been times in my life where God's like, hey, I'm in the middle of church or whatever, and they announce missionaries are going over to Guatemala. And they're actually friends that were in my Bible study at one point, and they're standing up on stage, and God's just like, find out what that total is and just pay that bill. And I just Venmoed it to him because I wanted to keep the favor flow going. And I also know when he's talking to me. So if I choose not to do that, then I'm missing out on a great faith walk. And like I said earlier, I've been given gifts out of the blue for no reason. I didn't even give a sob story. So it's just really cool. I definitely say don't do the clenched fist. Really keep a loose grasp on your belongings and things and money, because it really will come back to you. Absolutely. I've seen that my whole entire life.
And everything we have comes from God. So it's not ours anyway. We're just giving it right back. What's the story in the Bible where the woman uses the really expensive oil and everyone else is saying, well, you could have sold that and given it to the poor? And Jesus says, no, she's using it on me because what does he say?
She's getting him ready for the crucifixion.
And he's going to remember that. It's kind of like you're saying, I think God definitely sees and knows in our hearts when we're giving something that's special or huge in our minds, giving it to him. It does not go unnoticed.
Right. And 2 coins. The poor woman gave the 2 coins over everyone else that was tithing a ton of money.
Yeah.
And he said, which one's worth more? And it's this woman who has nothing giving her last 2 coins. It's all the stance on it. It's the demeanor and the heart behind it for sure. Going back to your dreams, though, I highly believe if your dreams don't require money, influence, and community, that your dreams are not big enough, because it actually is a faith walk to accomplish some of your biggest dreams. And if you think you're going to do it alone and with your money, that's not a God dream. It's not big enough, because it is all about who you become in the acquiring of the dream. So basically, start today with all the things you are grateful for, and it will eventually snowball you into being a cheerful giver and attracting huge gifts back to you. Side note, I thought giving only meant money at one point in my life. So I felt very stingy because I was managing a small amount of money. And it is more than that. Giving is time, effort, love, attention, notes, encouragement, help, support, and so much more. So be thinking about that when someone says, are you stingy or are you a giver? If you question that in yourself, do not discount time and effort and love.
That's a great point. I feel like time in my mind, now it's all relative, right? But I feel like time is the most valuable thing in my life because it's the thing I feel like I'm always needing more of. So when other people give me their time, I'm really grateful for it.
And if you think about, they say the rich and famous have all this money and all the things, but they're still depressed because they don't have close relationships or something's still missing. And I personally believe that's because they don't have a relationship with God. That's the biggest thing missing, because he fills voids that nothing on earth can fill. And so those are just cavernous voids that are not going to be filled with this huge pocketbook and cars and all that stuff. So basically, the gist is be extremely humble and grateful person, and you'll attract amazing things.
One more thing, we've talked a lot about it. Building your relationship with God takes time. And so going back to time being so valuable, how do you spend your time? And we've talked that over and over, but it's so true. You've got to put time into it. And so the rich and famous, they can't write a check and grow their relationship with God. It requires time and commitment and effort.
We all have the same 24 hours.
Well, let's talk about a few things to reflect on this week coming out of this conversation. So the first thing is ask yourself, am I focusing on what's missing or the miracles answered? And then also, do I truly believe I'm worthy of receiving good things? And lastly, how can I give freely this week from gratitude, not obligation? think that
Nice.
last point's really important. We've talked about not doing things because other people are expecting it of you. You do it because you're serving the Lord. And this is saying from gratitude. Again, I'm thankful that somebody else gave me their time. I'm going to go give my time. Or I'm thankful I got those clothes. I'm going to donate mine to somebody else.
Pay it forward. I haven't actually heard the pay it forward thing in a long time. It was a really huge trend for a while. I haven't really heard people doing that. So maybe pay it forward and get that going again in your city.
Small things make a big difference. This has been a really uplifting conversation. So maybe we can all go out this week and show a little bit more gratitude and give more gifts to others.
See you next week. Thanks for joining us today. We know your time is valuable and we hope you have a phenomenal week.
Until our next episode, find more content and social links at stillwithpurpose.com.